Yeti for Makwaba Kuma TV, some send a number channel is one more hit and one subscribe or like Asha Mawana. Pensemi Beaches, so you be a team, Mr. Somebody Germany and Genia Boromonte to Akuti in some money day Etrego. A commence and the day now can you for us to copy more parliament day 2024 budget and all Echo 2 Jana at T4 Mr. Mose and some Casa P na Yumungum Kutinima Akoso na Yaba de Cahobiano, and said Baba Abedum.
Express the President for the privilege to present the national budget on his behalf over the past 7 years. More importantly, I want to express my profound gratitude to God for the grace, mercy, and favor toward our nation. Together with the psalmist, let us say, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits."
Afibia and she say Ghana constitution the womb na yenyina agye atum amamra ya adwuma boa e makabima mekabi afa ne ntoma pefra o man konkro Ghana mu na ebehia se finance minister Ofori Atta ekwa kopiem e wo mrahye bedwafie na ode oman na kohomasika 2024 ye koyi no enema ebehia sika ebehia ni ebeye de ebefa ne nyina ode ho nsem ebe mrahye bedwafie na omoso ahwe na akiri omodoso na hwehwam ahu ba bia bode ho no edi susan befa na no ana obepie eye mrahye bedwafie ne da na ensam de wa brubi so papa Ofori Atta wa brubi so pa na ensam wa bru so nyina no na wo hwe dom dodo ne dom kuma wo mrahye bedwafie a omoso reaction bi a chese ne nyina no eye budget na budget we no a Ofori Atta ko kan yeso e kame say empanyifo awudo bi wo hono mo a omo entimi ankobi a chese ne nyina no eye oman na dwuma omo so eye okwan bi so entia na ade ba ko bi akoso e wo budget bra na omo kenkan ne nyina no eye mrahye bedwafie ho na Kennedy akompra kwa Japan ogina ho na MPC wo munyina agegina wo munyina MPs no mu didi nkomo ho na MP ba ko frech de ba ba chia Kennedy say me wo ba chia me chia wo na ne Kennedy gina ho ba si ma ba ko de na chese wo kire won na gina de nti a won chia yenu enai ansem no so nam social media pa nya asam ketwa na wo hwe eye Ofori Atta ne nsem ode ko tu dwa me pase ye ko tie bitiawa ye tie wi a wan kasa kwadwe nkire wo ho ene sen susu ye ne sen de na wo expect sen ka ban panyufo de beba mu a this time one tie de so na wo gidi se eba mu a woni agye now demonstration ketua bi ekoso ana demonstration bi koso wo mrahye bedwafie bra Ofori Atta ekwa redi year budget no na de koso nie ema binom ene mema bi ehye t-shirt o matwere ni mu kire se ekuta banner kire se aban hwe na budget o mo kan no sanitary pad a yenua no made siesi o mo ho na emre bi atwam na ye free wo di do pot e free ene tax da so no na o mo ye kire se aban ne panyifo hwe na o mo ntwam eyi free ho ene yi budget na ba me pese ye tie nsem wi na kire wa adwen sa so de eba ye no wo gina kuma pem anana wo expectation ne sen yakọ na yekotie Ofori Atta mesre se share na kire wa adwen sa kwan ne so mame.
Express the President for the privilege to present the national budget on his behalf over the past 7 years. More importantly, I want to express my profound gratitude to God for the grace, mercy, and favor toward our nation. Together with the psalmist, let us say, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits." Psalm 103, 1-2, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also wish to express my deep appreciation to you, Right Honorable Speaker, and the honorable members for their support over the years. We have not only agreed, but we also eventually find common ground in the interest of the Republic, and as we share in this collaboration, which will continue. Mr. Speaker, almost a year ago on Thursday, 24th November 2022, I presented the 2023 budget and as always gave an honest and forthright update on the economy, highlighting the extent of the challenges facing our country. Indeed, a month before, His Excellency the President also pointed out so many malevolent forces come together in a perfect storm to impact our lives so dramatically. Key macro indicators then were uninspiring. Against that backdrop, I then presented government's plan of recovery, focusing on restoring macroeconomic stability, coordinating an equitable debt operation program, ensuring that the vulnerable are well protected, negotiating a strong IMF program, a strong private sector growth agenda, and attracting significant green investments to promote growth. Mr. Speaker, in 2 out of the last 7 years, 2020 to 2022, the Ghanaian economy has faced challenges. The economy, growing at an average of 7% over single-digit inflation, declining interest rates, and a stabilizing currency, suffered unforeseen shocks like many other economies. GDP growth slumped from 6.5% in 2019 to 0.5% in 2020, as the lockdown and closure of businesses and the ports had a devastating effect on the economy, triggering cost of living crisis that has made lives difficult for the Ghanaian people. Though battered and bruised, we are not broken, and our resilience is manifesting. Mr. Speaker, we also saw the damaging effect that the economic downturn had on Ghana's already stretched revenues. This was even made worse by the additional expenditures that were required during the COVID-19 pandemic to ensure that life and livelihoods were protected. Mr. Speaker, 2020 was also in an election year, the first ever election in the Fourth Republic with zero donor funding. However, government sensitivity to our people was remarkable. No layoffs in the public service, salaries were dutifully paid over the year, and free water and electricity for the entire population was provided, especially the lifeline consumers. Indeed, entrepreneurship was not ignored, as this House passed the 600 million CD cut-bus program for GEA, which was effectively deployed. Mr. Speaker, permit me to clarify that the disruption to our macroeconomic path over the last few years was not peculiar to Ghana. The global disruption to supply chains, adjustments to new forms of work, and shifts in demand pursued some of the most cataclysmic effects on inflation and growth worldwide. This set off the worst form of global cost of living crisis since World War II. We turned the corner when in record time we completed the IMF first review of 6 performance criteria, 3 indicative targets, and 3 structural benchmarks. Our task now and in the medium term is twofold: to maintain stability and to keep on growing. We are determined to remain on the course of increased growth, currency stability, and disinflation over the medium term. Our future growth prospects are certainly brighter, and I'm confident that this budget, this victory budget, this inclusive budget, would ensure that we boldly walk on a sustainable path towards creating decent jobs and wealth for our people. For with national dedication, the Lord will continue to give us treasures from dark places and hidden riches in secret places. Mr. Speaker, our promise to all stakeholders, in particular to the people of Ghana, is that the Akosombo government is determined to maintain the discipline, compassion, and creativity required to keep the economy stable and maintain the robust growth. Mr. Speaker, today I accordingly present the 2024 budget to set out the broad medium-term policy framework underpinning our approach towards recovery and stability with growth. Among other things, it provides a pathway towards fiscal consolidation and macro stability. It sets out the new debt sustainability path after the excruciating domestic debt operation with aftershocks on the financial sector. It outlines the policy priorities underpinning the 5-year growth strategy with focus on selected initiatives over the next 14 months. It comes just after the successful first review of the 3-year, $3 billion IMF ECA program, where we reached a staff-level agreement on Ghana's performance in meeting the 6 QPCs, 3 indicative targets, and 3 structural benchmarks. In the U.S., Mr. Speaker, inflation surged from a low of 1.8% in 2019 to 6.5% by 2022, and is currently at 3.7%. We have seen this reflect in interest rate decisions by the U.S. Federal Reserve and also in benchmark yields. The yield on the 10-year U.S. Treasury instrument is currently at 4.6% compared to 1.4% 2 years ago. This is an economy whose currency is a global reserve currency. We see similar trends in the Eurozone and also in the UK. Inflation in the UK, Mr. Speaker, was 1.7% in 2019 and recorded at 11.1% in October 2022, a 41-year high. Mr. Speaker, in the media review, I informed the House that we had started turning the corner. Today, it is evident that we turned the corner when inflation started. When inflation started declining from 54.1% in December 2022 to 35.2%. The corner, Mr. Speaker, when despite the percent projected growth, the economy galloped pace and clocked an average of 3 in the first 2 quarters of this year. We turned the corner when the currency had been under severe pressure over the past, depreciated by a modest 6.4% in the past 9 months compared to 53.9% a period in 2022. The performance of the CD is also a reflection of the fact that confidence is back, revenues have improved, and that the recovery is indeed real and is here to stay. We turned the corner when companies started going back to the job markets to hire workers. We turned the corner when international credit rating agencies, which have not been favorable to Ghana in recent years, started being positive about the economy. And we turned the corner when the banking industry started to record and report a profit after tax growth of 43.8% of 6.2 billion this half year. All of this, Mr. Speaker, deepens our democratic development by prioritizing resources for institutions to support the conduct of the 2020 general elections. It commits us to funding existing projects in roads, rural electrification, rural telephony, IPEP, and our areas. Mr. Speaker, the 2024 budget is even more significant because we cross, Mr. Speaker, the 1 trillion gross domestic product mark for the first time in our economic history. Let me repeat, Mr. Speaker, Ghana's economy under President Akosombo in 2024, final year in office, is projected to be valued in 2021 $219.5 billion we inherited in 2016. Mr. Speaker, 2024, 1 trillion gross domestic product. Mr. Speaker, fundamentally, this is a government that is self-aware, reflective, and has been open throughout the process to incorporating citizens' feedback in preparing this budget. And as in previous years, we have prioritized stakeholder consultations. Consequently, we engage with and obtain valuable inputs from key stakeholders, including investors, traders, academia, organized labor, civil society organizations, bankers, development partners, faith-based organizations, a cross-section of the leadership, and other honorable members of Parliament. We also launched, Mr. Speaker, the Ghana Mutual Prosperity Dialogue on 2nd November 2024, a new and innovative platform 23 to deepen our collaboration and partnership with the private sector. The platform aims to enhance the long-term competitiveness of Ghana and increase our attractiveness as a hub for businesses on the continent. This will have its co-chaired by the Minister of Trade and Industry, Minister of Finance, and the private sector. I want to assure our stakeholders that we have, as much as possible, reflected the proposals and recommendations from these engagements in the budget. There is much more to be done with the shared ideas, and the Mutual Prosperity Dialogues will be a robust and dynamic platform to inform future policy changes. Mr. Speaker, the Akosombo Dam spillage. Mr. Speaker, in the last few months, we have been witnesses to the devastating impact of the Akosombo Dam spillage. This follows excessive rainfall recorded in several parts of the country. To preserve the structural integrity of the dam, the Volta River Authority commenced controlled spilling on 15 September 2023. This led to the flooding of downstream communities in parts of Volta, Eastern and Greater Accra regions. The heavy rainfall also caused flooding upstream of the Akosombo Dam and impacted communities in the Savannah, Oti, and Bono East regions. Government, through VRA and NADMO and various agencies under the 13-member high-level interministerial committee headed by the Chief of Staff, comprising of the Ministries of Energy, Finance, Local Government, Environment, Interior, Health, Sanitation, and Water Resources, Defense, Roads and Highways, Education, Information, Health, and Gender, have subsequently, Mr. Speaker, provided various forms of support to the impacted communities. The support included food and related items, drinks, mattresses, mosquito nets, diapers, sanitary pads, treated water services and storage tanks, solar lamps, sanitation services, of utility services, and some social infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, the visit of the officials of the Ministry of Finance and myself with VRA to the victims of the Akosombo Dam spillage in Mepe and the Volta region was truly revealing and sobering. Indeed, we empathize with the families that have been affected and displaced by the spillage. We met victims, townsfolk, children, and the chiefs, and of course, the Honorable Member of Parliament, Okujato, during the visit. Mr. Speaker, government has budgeted an amount of $220 million to support the relief phase for the communities affected by the Akosombo spillage, as well as floods upstream in the Oti, Savannah, and Bono East regions. To respond, we have requested funding from the World Bank under the IDA Crisis Response Window to support the resettlement of the victims, restoration of livelihoods, compensation, and reconstruction of infrastructure in the affected areas. Mr. Speaker, we recognize the place of climate policy and financing to help address the long-term effects of climate and other weather events. Accordingly, the Ministry has applied to the Global Shield Against Climate Risk Fund, an initiative launched by President Nana Akufo-Addo and Chancellor Scholz during the COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, to assess additional financial resources to support communities upstream and downstream of the Akosombo Dam. I convey the sincere appreciations of His Excellency the President and the entire government to all groups and individuals who have empathized with and supported the affected families. It is in the same spirit that we must continue to be grateful to God that no lives have been lost due to the devastating